Did you know that the bones in the body aren't built the same way? Some are long and cylindrical, some are flat, some are irregular, and some are actually filled with air. If you ever looked at a long bone and wondered what exactly the epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis mean, don't worry. In this video, we are going to break down the classification of the bones, their structures, the parts of a long bones, their functions, and even their blood supply, all in one video. So let's get started. First, what exactly is a bone? Bone is a specialized connective tissue mainly made strong by its mineral content, especially calcium salts. But bone isn't just hard and lifeless structures. It is a living tissue, has blood vessels, nerves, bone marrow, and cells that continuously remodel it. Together, bones and cartilage form the skeleton, which provides the framework to our body and allows movement throughout the attachment of muscle. Now, let's see how these bones are classified. The first and probably the easiest category to remember is the long bones. These bones have an elongated shaft called the diaphysis and two expanded ends called the epiphysis. The classic examples are the humerus, radius, ulna, femur, and tibia. But here's something interesting. Long bones don't necessarily have to be very long. For example, the metacarpal and the metatarsals are classified as long bones even though they are relatively short. Next are short bones. These are generally more cube shaped and mainly found where stability and limited movements are required. The best examples are the carpal bones of the wrist and tarsal bones of the ankle. Then we have flat bones. As the name suggests, these bones are relatively thin and flat. Examples include bones of the skull, sternum, ribs, and scapula. They are particularly important for protection and muscle attachment. Some bones don't fit neatly into the previous categories. These are called the irregular bones. The vertebrae are a classic example. Their complex shapes allow them to perform specialized functions such as supporting the body and protecting the spinal cord. Now, here is a slightly more interesting category: pneumatic bones. These bones contain air filled spaces lined by mucous membrane. Example includes the maxilla, sphenoid, ethmoid bones. These air spaces contribute to functions such as reducing the weight of the skull and affecting the resonance of the voice. Finally, we have the sesamoid bone. These are small bones embedded within tendons, usually near joints. The most familiar example is the patella. Their most important function includes resisting pressure, reducing friction, and changing the direction of muscle pull. Next, the bones can be classified according to how they develop. Developmentally, we have membranous bones which ossify directly within a membrane. Cartilaginous bones which develop by replacing a cartilage model. Example femur. And membrocartilaginous bones which develop partly through membrane and partly through cartilage. Example clavicle. Now let's move from classification to the actual structure of bone. Structurally, bone can be divided into compact bone or cancellous bone, which is also known as spongy bone. Compact bone is dense and hard, almost ivory-like in appearance. It is particularly well developed in the shaft or diaphysis of long bone. Its microscopic organization includes structures called osteones or Haversian system, which help the bone withstand mechanical stresses. Cancellous bones, on the other hand, has a network of thin bony plates and rods called trabeculae. It is lighter and is commonly found at the ends of long bones, especially within the epiphysis. And here's the key concept: cancellous bones isn't randomly arranged. Its trabeculae are arranged according to the lines of mechanical stresses acting on the bone. Therefore, compact bones are dense and at the diaphysis, cancellous bones are the trabecular and at the epiphysis. Now let's take one long bone and break it down from outside to inside. Periosteum. The outer surface of most bones is covered by a tough connective tissue membrane called the periosteum. It has an outer fibrous layer and inner osteogenic layer. It is attached to the underlying bone through strong fibers called the Sharpey's fibers. Compact bone. Deep to the periosteum is the compact bone forming the strong outer wall of the shaft. This is what gives the long bone much of its strength. Medullary cavity. Inside the shaft is the medullary cavity, which contains the bone marrow. In children, much of this marrow is red and actively involved in blood cell production. With age, much of it becomes yellow marrow. The medullary cavity is lined by a thin membrane called the endosteum, which contains cells involved in bone repair and remodeling. At the ends of long bone are the epiphyses. These are mainly composed of cancellous bone covered by a thin membrane of compact bone. At the joint surfaces, the bone is covered by articular cartilage, which helps reduce friction and allows smooth movement. Now, if the bone is still growing, there are a few additional structures you need to know. The epiphysis is the end of long bone that develops from secondary ossification center. Diaphysis, the elongated shaft of the bone, and develops from the primary ossification center. Metaphysis, between the epiphysis and diaphysis, is important region because it is the zone of active growth. Epiphyseal plate, between the epiphysis and metaphysis is the epiphyseal plate, also called the growth plate. This plate allows the long bone to increase in length. Once growth is complete, the epiphyseal plate closes and becomes the epiphyseal line. Now let's answer the bigger questions. Why do we actually need bones? First, support. Bones provide support and shape to the body. Second, protection. They protect the vital organs. The skull protects the brain, the vertebral column protects the spinal cord, thoracic cage protects the heart and lungs. Third, movement. Bones act as lever for muscles. When muscles contract and pull on bones, movement occurs at joints. 4. Blood cell formation. Bone marrow is also involved in blood cell formation or hematopoiesis. 5. Mineral storage. Bones serve as an important storage site for minerals, particularly calcium and phosphorus. 6. Mechanical adaptations. Bones are living tissues that constantly adapt to mechanical stresses. Regular loading can stimulate bone maintenance, while prolonged disuse can result in bone loss. Therefore, they help in support, protection, movement, hematopoiesis, mineral storage, and adaptation. And finally, let's talk about something that's often overlooked: the blood supply of bone. A bone may look like a solid structure, but it is highly vascular. A long bone receives blood from different sources, including the nutrient artery, the periosteal vessels, and vessels supplying the epiphysis and metaphysis. The nutrient artery enters the shaft through a small opening called the nutrient foramen and supplies much of the internal bone and bone marrow. The periosteal vessel mainly supplies the outer part of the bone. Epiphyseal and metaphyseal vessels supply the ends and growing region of the bone. The rich blood supply is extremely important for growth, repair, and remodeling. Okay, let's revise everything in less than a minute. Bones are living connective tissue that form the structural framework of the body. By shape, they can be long, short, flat, irregular, pneumatic, and sesamoid. Structurally, bone consists mainly of compact and cancellous bone. A long bone has diaphysis, epiphysis, and metaphysis, and in the growing bone, an epiphyseal plate is present. The outer surface is covered by periosteum, while the medullary cavity is lined by endosteum. Bones provide support, protection, movement, blood formation, and mineral storage. And that's your complete overview of the classification and basic structure of bones. If this video helped you, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more simple concept-based anatomy and physiotherapy content. And I'll see you in the next one. Keep learning, keep moving. Thank you.